This is a Fox News alert. Hurricane Dorian is strengthening over the Atlantic and is currently a Category 4 hurricane. Adam Klotz is live in the Fox News Weather Center with the latest. Adam.
Hey there, Jason. Yeah, this is just intensifying here in the last couple of hours, last hour actually. You can see very powerful storm. Anytime you get a strong eye wall like that, that indicates a strong storm. Winds of 130 miles an hour, gusting up to 140. It's moving off towards the west at 10 miles an hour. This storm going to be bearing down on the Bahamas over the next couple of days, likely making that trip over the Bahamas, getting into Monday during the day before eventually approaching the coast of the United States. Likely late Monday night, really getting more so into Tuesday, though. Once we make landfall, it's likely going to take a very steep turn to the north and then run to the north before eventually weakening down to a Category 2. But this is a very wide area, so there's still a lot of uncertainty about what exactly is going to happen once we reach the Bahamas. So we have a pretty good idea of this storm making this move. And then is it going to shoot off into the Gulf of Mexico? Is it going to turn up the center of the state, or is it going to run up the East Coast? Jason, we are trending more and more that this is going to run up the East Coast of Florida. But again, still days and days away, so it's something we'll be watching. Jason.
Florida and Georgia, watch out. Adam, thank you very much.
Jack Parrish joins me now by phone. He is a meteorologist and flight director with NOAA, the hurricane hunters, the folks who fly into and around hurricanes to kind of gather data and help better predict these storms. He went up on one of those flights earlier today. He joins us now. Jack, I know you're busy. We very much appreciate you joining us. Give us an idea of why it is so vital that you go in and you check out what this storm looks like.
Yeah, Trace, we're actually putting a P-3 aircraft into the storm twice per day, and my colleague was in this morning's flight. I'm going out this afternoon into the storm. I'll be in the vicinity of the storm between about 6:30 and 10:30 p.m. this evening, and we'll be making multiple crossing patterns around the storm. We generate three-dimensional winds using our tail Doppler radar. NOAA has the only one of these, and those three-dimensional fields of wind are going to go into the forecast model to continually improve the forecast in terms of both where it's going to make landfall and how strong.
You say three-dimensional winds, Jack. I'm just curious because you're really very concerned about the winds at the bottom of the hurricane, the ones that are going to affect the coastline the most. Is that a fair assessment?
That's a very fair assessment, and we certainly want to know what's going to happen at people's roof levels. What happens dynamically in the storm in three dimensions is going to have a profound effect on what happens to those lowest winds. We have a very cool instrument, a step-frequency microwave radiometer, that actually measures those surface winds, and we are continually mapping those fields to tell how far out go the hurricane force winds as well as the tropical storm force winds.
When you go into this thing, Jack, I'm very curious because we hear a lot about, piercing the eye wall, getting inside the eye wall. Why is it so important that when hurricane hunters go out, they get into the eye wall and they kind of get a look at the whole symmetry of how this thing looks?
Well, Trace, the radars do a magnificent job of giving us that picture, and the satellites, of course, are amazing as far as telling us how things are developing all the way across the Atlantic. To get the detailed information, how strong is that wind at the radius of maximum wind, we call it, how low is the pressure right in the center of the storm, we have to get up close and personal, and in a lot of cases we're targeting dropsonde instruments, expendable instruments in the strongest wind, followed by the central pressure by a dropsonde, and then the opposite side, strongest winds. That's, of course, where we get the most action, too. So everybody has to be strapped in, and yet still launching these probes, taking these data, and getting them out to the various important people, Hurricane Center and the modeling centers.
And people in Florida, they're very concerned. They're hoping that you go into this storm, Jack, and that you come away and you find something that might degrade it, something that might kind of break it up a little bit. You guys will look for that as well, right?
Tracy, you're exactly right on that. We've seen many disrupting factors on this storm. I started flying it when it was southeast of Barbados last Monday, and it was just a mess for the first 2 days. On the third day, when it was northeast of Puerto Rico, it gained a great deal of organization. And, of course, now we're seeing that visible eye, which is a very good indicator of low shear, good ocean heat, all kinds of positive factors for growth, which are very negative factors if you live on the coast. So we will certainly be hoping for those negative factors, but we just go out and observe. We get that information to the Hurricane Center, and then they do the forecasting.
Yeah, and I know you're going back out today, and I know you got to go here, Jack, but just give me very quickly, what's the first thing you look for when you're going in and you get inside this storm? What's the first thing you're looking at?
Well, Trace, as we're approaching the eye wall, we're going to start out from 90 miles from the center. We're going to go through the eye wall a total of at least 6 times, maybe even 8 times tonight. And so the big thing is the radar structure. We expect our biggest bumps on the inside edge of the eye wall as we're getting into the eye. And safety of the air crew is super important. So I'm looking at things from a safety perspective. We got to keep these people safe in the airplane. We got to keep the airplane safe so we can go out on the 5 in the morning mission. I'm going on a 5 in the afternoon mission. So we got to keep our NOAA $150 million airplane safe. And then, of course, the quality of the data coming off the airplane is everything. So those are the things I'm looking at.
Yeah, and we greatly appreciate it, just so you know that, Jack. We greatly appreciate the work that you guys do. Best of luck on your trip this afternoon and the rest. Jack Parrish from NOAA, thanks again.